Good evening. My name is Polina Oskolkova, and I have a dream that one day we will limit the use of AI. I think that AI has recently completely engrossed us. It sort of feels like absolutely everybody has been discussing it recently, and it's certainly become a bit of a hot topic. But it's not without reason. Raise your hand if you've ever heard of ChatGPT. Keep your hand up if you've ever used ChatGPT. Okay, but AI, that's not only limited to ChatGPT. In fact, we underestimate the impact that AI has on our everyday lives. AI is in so many of our technologies, from our social media feeds to Face ID on our phones and Google Translate. That's all AI. I'd say that, admittedly, all of this is pretty great, but with all of these absolutely amazing uses for AI, when do we know that enough is enough? And more importantly, do our issues lie with AI itself, or is that just some hot new buzzword that we're throwing around? Okay, we're probably familiar with some negative effects of it to some extent. One lesser known one would perhaps be our social media feeds and excessively scrolling through them because it's just so personalized. However, that's not what I want to talk about. First off, I'd like to consider whether AI even has a place in an academic setting. In 2021, a group of researchers from the University of Minnesota, mainly Professor Alok Gupta of Decision and Information, conducted behavioral experiments regarding AI, and then they published their findings in 2021. Their findings really shocked me because when given the opportunity to use AI with a certain task, which really needed some sort of creative elements, the groups that used AI performed worse than the groups that did not. Why is that? Well, this is because those groups would rely on the AI tool even when it would recommend taking the wrong path. I'd like to take a step away from that point really quickly and think about how AI actually works. According to the University of Plymouth, AI uses and merges pre-existing content to satisfy a user's demand. Obviously, AI isn't some omnipotent higher power which can solve all of our problems. No. It creates its content by looking through all available resources and then creating a mix of the most popular or prevalent phrases. From this, we could draw the conclusion that the content produced by AI lacks in originality and variety because it can't produce anything more or new. This then traps us into this loop of recycled ideas. Education, that's about growth. We're all here to learn something new today. So if we take AI and place it into the context of education, students using something like ChatGPT are stuck in that loop. They're repeating the same points over and over again. They're not able to find any new ways of working or invest in any type of self-betterment. The researchers concluded that AI's monotony defects the consumer. It's, I'd say, pretty hard to understand phrasing, but Professor Alok Gupta added, we start mimicking the behavior of AI. We stop taxing our own brains, and then, in turn, start to all act similarly, like Borgs. To me, that does sound a bit like a doomsday scenario, but he's got a point. If we leave all of the creative work to AI, we no longer have those cognitive abilities. They're not properly opened up. We don't particularly know how to cope with creativity anymore. Another way that AI can actually dumb us down is through our consumption of certain news sources. When I say news sources, I don't only mean the conventional things, such as articles. In that umbrella term, I'd also like to include things as social media accounts. Not only those, but also things that connect a wide range of different people while sharing their own news or any information on personal events. Well, since I was previously talking about education, and I think it would be socially acceptable to ask for some more audience participation. Raise your hand if you've ever had a social media account. Okay, pretty much everyone. So it's fair to assume that we've probably seen this news pop up on our feed now and again. Well, a lot of this news is actually AI generated. And to me, whenever I see AI generated news, that automatically decreases the integrity of it in my mind. This is because, if we go back to the previous definition, it creates a mix of all of the most popular phrases, but it doesn't stop to consider whether they're factually correct or not, simply because AI doesn't have that ability. This leads to the spread of misinformation online. But why is there so much information in the first place? Well, that's because of another form of AI called bots, of which we've seen a worrying increase of lately. These bots are powered by AI algorithms, and then they produce content which frequently has a political bias. Some of these bots do tend to be quite civilized and not particularly harmful. They just interact with general audiences. However, a lot of them are also used to spread harmful rhetorics and messages. I'm living in a world in which my life is dominated by politics. So, when I see that AI has infiltrated that realm, I feel like I have something personal at stake there. During the UK general election, the non-profit organization Global Witness found that of the 45 bot accounts that they monitored on X, formerly Twitter, they produced 440,000 posts in the time frame of the 22nd of May to the 4th of July of 2024. And those 440,000 posts gained 3 billion views. All of this manipulates the public's perception of reality for either political or economic gain. The majority of the posts were found to contain either purposefully instigating or conspiratory material. Due to the sheer amount of content produced, we don't know how to monitor them anymore. We don't know where to moderate these harmful posts because we don't know where to start. However, the dangers of AI on social media don't only lie with these bots. I'd say that it also revolves around something called deepfakes. According to the BBC, deepfakes are usually videos, but could also be images or audio clips, which are purposefully edited to imitate something's likeliness. Some of you here today might have heard of some ongoing issues in South Korea regards to AI. Recently, authorities have discovered something called friend-of-friend rooms. These rooms are chat rooms in which members share deepfakes of women within their lives, usually in certain fabricated situations. Unfortunately, these chat rooms were found to be mainly associated with schools. One South Korean journalist found that one of these groups was aimed at underage pupils and contained over 2,000 members. This personally resonated with me because a lot of the women featured in these posts were my age and some were even younger. I cannot begin to imagine the pain and betrayal that these women are currently facing and feeling because their perpetrators are facing little consequences. Because these posts were produced by AI, there's so many of them and so many consumers of them as well. Authorities no longer know who they can charge and what exactly they can charge for criminal activity because it's such a new thing as well. After all of this, I doubt that it'll come as a surprise to say that AI isn't exactly great for the environment either. According to the 2023 MIT Technology Review, training one large AI model produces around 626,000 pounds of carbon dioxide. Similarly, another study found that training one GPT-3 model in one of Microsoft's data centers wastes 5.4 million liters of water. Measly number, but it's interesting. Just to compare it, one average family uses 349 liters of water per day. That's 15,000 times less than one AI model needs to calm down. It would take 41 years for one family to use the same amount of water that one large AI model needs. I'm sorry, but that's completely ridiculous. Can we just let that sink in? AI, on top of that, produces something called toxic e-waste. Toxic e-waste is defined by the UN as being waste products which then produce toxic chemicals which are harmful for both the environmental and human health. This toxic e-waste accumulates in pretty much everything you can think of, from the air to the soil to your lungs and water sources as well. It's evident that training AI models causes such a massive damage to the environment through the resultant pollution. If we stop training our AI models or only continue training the ones necessary, we will significantly cut down the estimated toxic waste production by 2050, which currently sits at 120 million metric tons. Because of the vast scale of this problem, I believe that the most impactful solution would be government intervention. I believe that the government should create tighter regulations around AI and create them from both a legal cybercrime perspective and also from one which is more caring about the environment. Okay. Even though AI has all of these negative consequences, you're probably thinking that the eradication of AI is not only completely unnecessary, but also totally unrealistic. Surprisingly, I'd agree. However, I think that we should refocus all of our efforts on creating personal use AI and make sure that we're applying them to the medical field. The medical field does currently use AI, but it is far from perfect. They lack the amount of quality data to train these AI models, which means that they're facing cases of discrimination and bias simply because AI is not able to deal with diversity. It doesn't know how to adapt. But if we invest more time into collecting things such as quality data to train this AI, we can make such a positive difference on the lives of many. For example, one company that I'm deeply inspired by is called Karen Medical. Karen Medical is currently training AI technology in mammograms, which then would be able to track the development of future potential breast cancers. On a positive note, unlike the majority of my speech, AI is being used by so many different medical companies. For example, another use of AI technologies is matching correct and precise drug treatments to cancers. But as is the case with pretty much everything, we need to know when to not overstep the line. We need to know when we stop using it for our personal, rather selfish ideas and when to focus it on something more beneficiary for everything. I don't believe that AI is necessary in any regard. I've lived a perfectly fulfilling life without ever using ChatGPT to complete an assignment. Not only is our overconsumption of AI really scary, but it's also incredibly dangerous. Not only for us, but also if something doesn't change drastically, for everything around us as well. So, this is why I have a dream that one day we will limit the use of AI.